3, 2, 1. Yes, no, maybe. I don't know. Can you repeat the question? You're not the boss of me. Anybody seen Malcolm in the Middle? Hey, this is Sardonicast. It's Adam from Your Movie Sucks. And that was a theme song from Breaking Bad. Who else is here?
I'm Ralph the Sussy Baka.
Oh.
Oh, no.
I love the rebranding.
And I'm Alex from IHE. And yeah, I remember Malcolm in the Middle. That was a good time.
Yeah.
Funny-ass sitcom. That's some really good episodes.
Not a lot of people, I think, realized this when it was on, but it was like pretty revolutionary for what it was in terms of like how a sitcom was presented, without laugh track and, not just single stage, the ability to actually have camera work and cinematography and editing play a role in like a televised sitcom and still be really funny. It was pretty crazy for its time, honestly.
When was the last time you saw it? I haven't seen it probably since I was a kid, to be honest.
Yeah, billion years ago, honestly.
Yeah, I wonder how it's aged now.
Yeah, I have the collection, and I'm itching for a reason to revisit it at some point, but I'm just far too busy with so many other things, and it's like I'm not planning on making a video on it or anything, so kind of have to wait, I guess. Wait for a good time. Y'all seen the Batman trailer?
The Batman?
I don't know. Is that what it's called, I guess?
Yeah, I think it's called The Batman. Matt Reeves, right?
Yep.
Yep. Uh-huh.
I guess I'll jump in first. I mean, I'm intrigued by this movie. It's kind of the type of superhero movie I want to be seeing. I have affection for Batman. I want to see Batman stories, and I like how vague it's being and how they're purposefully not showing like the Riddler in too much detail. It seems like maybe they have some secrets to show us. And the look of it too, it looks like a graphic novel, and the casting as well. I like how it's coming together. I'm just more curious how the writing is going to play out, what the story is going to be, because it is written by Matt Reeves and Peter Craig. I looked up, which wasn't too hopeful to me.
Who's Peter?
He's credited for the Bad Boys for Life, Hunger Games, Mockingjay, Top Gun Maverick, which isn't the best, but yeah, we'll see. I think I like Matt Reeves a bit more than you guys.
Yeah. I don't. But
he's, at the same time, I don't have really. He's not one of those guys I'm going to jump out really defending passionately. I remember enjoying those 8 movies, but they're by no means that memorable to me, or I don't really revisit them at all. I enjoyed Cloverfield, I guess, but
I think I would honestly be more excited, even with the context of knowing that The Dark Knight Rises is a movie that exists. I think I would still be more excited for a 4th Nolan film than a Matt Reeves Batman film.
Yeah.
And I was being cautiously optimistic. I was being like, yeah, we'll see what it looks like with the first trailer. And now that I've seen it, I'm like, nah, sorry. There's like a couple cool shots, like the hallway lit by the gunfire. Like that looks cool. That looks fun. I hope that there's a lot of that type of thing in the movie. Like it doesn't look poorly shot or anything. There's some like really awkward, clunky moments in the trailer. It looks like a superhero movie from like 20 years ago.
You reckon?
That's what it felt like.
I don't think it looked that bad in terms of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it looks good. I mean, I don't have much to say.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a trailer. Like, it looks good. Like, cinematography. I think it's going to be better than Batman versus Superman.
Oh, I forgot that there was another Batman. I was like, oh yeah, it's only Christopher Nolan, right? No, I forgot about that. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, terrible.
Still need to watch that one.
It's bad.
If you were to ask me what my answer is for the most formulated and cliched and predictable movie ever of all time created, 100%, no exaggeration, I would say the second Apes movie from Matt Reeves. I would say Dawn of the Planet of the Apes would be my number one most formulated and cliched and predictable movie ever made of all time. So, not exactly hyped.
Damn, really? Of all time?
Yeah, I honestly can't think of another one ever from any year.
Yeah, again, I haven't seen it since it came out. I don't have the strongest feelings on them in order to defend them. I just remember it was mostly the Andy Serkis kind of visual effects angle that it was mostly sold on from memory, and some okay action.
Mm-hmm.
It has a good cast. but we knew that. But you get to see them like Zoe Kravitz looks good, and the Penguin played by Colin Farrell. Yeah, Paul Dano.
Nice.
Like it's like wow, they all look good. That's like, like what else can you say about it? It doesn't give away much. I guess that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure people could piece it together.
I hope whatever they release next looks better than the trailer.
Yeah, there's gonna be a ton of trailers. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Kristen Stewart's probably gonna get an Oscar nom before Patty Cakes. She's in the the biopic Spencer of Diana.
Patty Cakes.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Robert Pattinson. Yeah, I think she'll probably get an Oscar nom. I haven't even seen the movie, but it's the way that people are talking. I feel like Pattinson probably should have deserved a nom for like Good Time or something, but hey, whatever.
Yeah, well, Lighthouse, but forget about it.
Oopsie. So there's a link that someone posted in our subreddit, and they kind of wanted our reaction to it. It's the Parade.com's list of 75 best directors of all time. So if we wanted to go through this, I don't know.
Ta-da. Wow.
Here we go.
It's a bold selection, yeah.
It's weird how some lists
see.
start at number 1 at the top, and that's really weird. It's like, just work your way up.
Yeah, surely you want it to be a build-up.
What's the
It's
fucking
like the whole point.
Like, should I
is to get
scroll to the
number
bottom
one.
and then go all the way back up?
Yeah, that's really funny.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I just saw what number 1
75
was,
J.J. Abrams. That's not...
That's kind of low. I think that's
What?
J.J. Abrams. Like, I don't know.
Starts with
if you
JJ,
scroll
doesn't it?
all the way to the bottom, it's 75. Yeah, I don't think he should be on the list.
Yeah, I was... Really? I couldn't think of 75 that doesn't include JJ?
Yeah, there's definitely over 75 different directors from my best of the year list videos. I don't think J.J. Abrams has ever directed a film that has appeared in one of those.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about my personal preferences, then yeah, I would not include J.J. in my top 75.
He's made a lot of money though.
I know.
which is good.
Wait, and is this
Yeah.
from a list that's like just come out too? That's even stranger considering some of his recent movies. But
What's a good J.J. movie? Like, what warrants him being on the best directors list, other than he can handle lots of money?
they
Lost
cite Mission
and-
Impossible, Super 8.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a
The Force
showrunner for
Awakens.
Lost. I'm sure he directed
Star
like
Trek.
a lot of the episodes. But I don't know.
The Star Trek movie. Yeah.
Jordan Peele's on here, number 69. Nice.
Rob Reiner's number 70. Sorry, let's try to go in order. We skipped a
No,
couple.
I'm not gonna say it. I'm just noting the ones that stand out to me.
The Wachowskis at 66.
Okay.
Very interesting. But here's I don't know, because it's like you'd think the other movies kind of weigh them down a bit. They got The Matrix, and that's why they're on the list.
But The Matrix is... Yeah,
But without The
exactly.
Matrix,
People are
Speed
speed
Racer.
racer too. There's like a big speed racer thing out there.
we should watch it someday.
Speed Racer.
Yeah, I think we should.
I
I always
actually haven't
felt that
seen
was
it
a
all the
good
way through.
recommendation. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, me
That'd be a
neither.
great
I've
one.
only seen parts of it.
Spike Jones, 65.
Yeah. Interesting.
Sure. I don't know.
Sam Mendes is good.
He's 65.
I like American Beauty, but I don't know. Oh, yeah, I guess a lot of people love 1917. That wasn't a poorly directed movie at all. Bong Joon-ho, too low on the list, 62.
Yeah, he is too.
Danny Boyle,
58.
very interesting. John Carpenter.
Yeah, 56.
Fuck! M. Night is right above
Oh,
Denis Villeneuve.
yeah.
That's
54.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty dumb.
That's very
And
interesting.
I'd say John Carpenter should be higher.
I would say fucking
I'd say
Bong
John Carpenter's
Joon-ho,
better
John
than-
Carpenter,
Better than Taika Waititi.
Danny Boyle,
Taika Waititi's not as good as John Carpenter. Come
Denis
on.
Villeneuve. I would say a lot of the ones we've seen so far should be
Yeah, what the hell
above
is
M.
that?
Night.
above the Wachowskis. Like, is like the Sixth
Yeah.
Sense above like the Matrix? Like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, like that's very strange.
Yeah, but at least M. Night had a couple movies instead of one.
True.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. And again, I get,
John Carpenter.
we're talking about the perspective of a publication, but it's really the perspective of a person that wrote for the publication. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Of course.
Taika Waititi. Huh. Andrea Arnold on this list is pretty interesting. I need to rewatch Fish Tank, actually. George Miller, not Filthy Frank, but the director of Mad Max and Happy Feet. Greta Gerwig, number 50. She's good, but
above George Carpenter.
There's
John Carpenter. What I say?
Yeah,
not George.
This
Miller.
Is interesting. Also, Ryan Coogler.
John Carpenter.
Yeah,
I don't know.
John Carpenter's pretty.
Ryan Coogler.
Pretty great.
Okay. Yeah, it's still
Cameron Crowe.
I mean, come on. Sophia Coppola.
Ron Howard's quite far up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Sophia Coppola. I'm not sure I agree that she's an amazing director or anything. She has like a couple interesting movies. Yeah, but that's about it.
Barry Jenkins, 45.
I like Barry Jenkins a lot, but fuck that Amazon thing. Well, he made Moonlight and Beale Street, and then he did his like 10-episode thing that was really boring.
That's 2 movies.
I mean, fuck. There was
great.
like 5 movies worth of shit in that 10-episode Amazon thing. He's a good director. Career. But yeah, I would agree that like you should probably have a bigger catalog before being on this list, especially above so many other directors.
Number 42, George Lucas.
Oh God. Yeah, whatever. I'm not going to complain too hard about that one.
Well, it's like, what are we actually ranking here? Is it just influence or just
best?
Like...
The best.
Darren Aronofsky above George Lucas. I don't know. Maybe.
I think Aronofsky is great. I'm not going to complain too hard about that.
It's just the order.
It depends how we're rating them. Yeah, the order is always going to be fucky.
It's so weird. Yeah.
I think Requiem for a Dream is like an insane movie, honestly.
Yeah. Do you see Robert Zemeckis? He's at 39.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would put George Lucas above Robert Zemeckis, honestly.
I really like Forrest Gump, and I like Back to the Future.
I like Roger Rabbit a lot.
Roger Rabbit. Yeah.
Linklater, number 37. Very interesting.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oliver Stone's right. He's at 38.
Kurosawa at 36.
36.
I feel like Kurosawa should be higher. Kurosawa should be like top 10.
Right above Kurosawa.
What?
How do you feel about that? Patty Jenkins above Wes Anderson and Kurosawa. That's funny. Monster was great, but fuck. What else?
Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 1984.
Oh, no.
That movie's pretty bad.
That's weird, but okay. Tim Burton?
Seems like half of these just kind of trending.
Get Tim Burton off this list entirely.
Well, I don't know. Sergio Leone at 32.
This is actually irritating. This Parade.com article in the Tim Burton section. And as kids of all ages know, the former animator also made his mark directing the stop-action... It just says stop-action. 1993 movie, The Nightmare Before Christmas. But that was not directed by Tim Burton. What was his name? Something Sellers or something? Let's see. It was the guy that directed Coraline.
Yeah. Everyone gets that wrong.
I know! It's like it's an annoying factoid. It's Kimbaism,
it's
you know?
So annoying.
Henry Selick, there we are.
Henry,
Yeah. So, I mean, this is best directors list, and they're crediting him for directing a movie he didn't. Okay. All right. Well, Sergio.
It's a good catch.
Yeah, I don't know, because I was trying to I don't love Tim Burton. I haven't seen some of the ones that people consider it to be his greatest, but I was kind of looking in this little blurb, like what are they justifying this with? And then Nightmare.
Yeah,
I mean, he had a lot to do with it.
Ed
don't
Wood,
get me wrong, but
Beetlejuice, Batman.
Ava DuVernay. I'm sorry. I'm not sure I agree with that.
It's just right here.
Yeah.
It's so wrong.
Above everyone we've listed already.
The former animator also made his mark directing the stop motion or the stop action 1993.
It's a weird way to phrase it. So Ava DuVernay at number 31 is bizarre. Director of Wrinkle in Time. 13th was pretty good. It was a documentary, but I don't know. Wasn't like crazy directed or anything.
I'm really confused by this list. 29, David Lynch.
Totally random.
Ridley Scott at 30, 29, David Lynch.
Mm.
See, I don't even love Lynch movies, but fuck it. Like I'm not, there's nothing wrong with putting him on a best directors of all time list. It's like he has his, his contributions to the medium are like really obvious.
Yeah. He's an influential filmmaker, yeah.
Yeah. Steven Soderbergh above all of them at number 24.
Yeah, well, Mike Nichols at 25. He did The Graduate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. I
De
haven't seen the rest of
Palma,
these movies.
Michael Mann above all these people? Jeez. I guess I haven't seen Heat yet, but...
Yeah, Steven Soderbergh is... he's very high on that list.
I know, he's a very versatile director, but...
They put Traffic. You should put Heat, yeah. Sex, Lies, and Videotape. Contagion, we talked about that. He did a movie recently.
He's always done a movie
Benicio
recently.
Del Toro.
He's always
yeah, he does a
them out.
movie. He does a movie very often. Yeah.
Fucking Michael Mann at 22, Ang Lee at 21, and the
Ang Lee's up
Gemini
there.
Man.
Yeah, Gemini Man.
They don't mention that. Oh yeah, they do. They
at the
do.
beginning.
We've already forgiven him for.
Yeah,
we've already forgiven him. This is stupid. Life of Pi.
So,
yeah,
why
that's
is
a
Ang
good
Lee
movie.
above Kurosawa? So this is very odd.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon's good. Yeah.
We got Guillermo at 19.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like a really. I mean, he deserves to be on the list. Yeah. Clint Eastwood at 18.
Almodovar at 17.
Mm-hmm.
I've never watched a Nora Ephron film.
Mm-hmm. I haven't either.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
Finchy Boy Fincher at number 15.
Yeah, David Finker.
Finker. he makes thinking films.
Alien Cubed. Yeah, Alien Cubed. What else has he done? A Curious Case of
Fincher?
Benjamin Button. Yeah, that's
Gone Girl's awesome. Fight Club. Dragon Tattoo. Fincher deserves to be somewhere on the list for sure. He's a great director.
Yeah, he definitely
It's
does.
like part of what makes his movies so great is just his like understanding of like how to organize everything and his familiarity with special effects and how they're going to work. Like, great at directing in all areas. Iñárritu.
Yeah.
Love
15,
him.
Iñárritu.
I would say Fincher's probably deserves to be higher on the list than Iñárritu. Honestly, all these, I don't know, there's some that were way too low.
Birdman and
Catherine Bigelow.
Revenant, yeah.
Number 13. Okay.
Number 13.
All right.
Has Fincher made more? I think he has.
Fincher has made more movies, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, love The Hurt Locker, but...
Yeah, Catherine Bigelow should be on it. She's very high on the list, but yeah. Hurt Locker's great.
Joel and Ethan
Point
Cohen.
Break. Point Break's great.
Number 12.
Point Break's awesome.
Yeah, the Coens deserve a place for sure.
Coppola at number 11. I mean, Francis Ford, because there's so many Coppolas I have to specify.
Godfather.
Yeah, of course.
Cuarón at number 10. Weird. I mean, I like him, but...
That's very high on the list.
That is weirdly high. Kubrick at number 9. Sure. Kubrick in the top 10. I can...
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan just above Stanley Kubrick is triggering me a little.
Yeah. I had the same gut feeling.
It's like it's intentionally placed that close. PTA at number
above
7.
both of them. Above Chris Nolan. Yeah. Right above him.
Love PTA.
The top of this list is like triggering.
Quentin Tarantino at number 6.
Oh, this is
Spike Lee at number 5.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, like Spike Lee is above Tarantino. Like they put them like right next to each other.
Yeah. Spike Lee does not have a consistent track record. Spike Lee has a couple really bad movies.
I would put Tarantino above Spike Lee by like a significant margin. By a couple directors,
same.
for sure. Yeah.
James Cameron above Spike Lee. I don't know.
Okay.
It wouldn't be in
He
my
should be in the
personal
top
top 10, but...
Yeah, I think he would be. Alfred Hitchcock at 3.
Yeah, Alfred Hitchcock deserves to be in the top 10 for sure.
Scorsese
Scorsese number 2.
I don't understand the list.
For sure, that's fine.
Scorsese above Alfred Hitchcock.
Why not?
Yeah, sure.
They're both very talented.
It's just hard to like, Scorsese's influenced by Hitchcock. Yeah.
And then number 1, Steven Spielberg, the most normie best director choice you could possibly have, I guess.
Spielberg should be in the top 10, yeah. Michael Haneke or whatever.
Yeah, where the fuck are any of my favorite directors?
Or have you seen? Or I don't know. There's like a ton of foreign directors. Like
yeah, the only one on here was Bong Joon-ho.
Yeah,
because he's like recently like Oscar winning, I guess. Everybody else is just like
just
Americans,
like trending directors, and then all the classics. Yeah,
except for some really
like
classic ones. That
like I'd say Park Chan-wook. Like
yeah, honestly I think Chan-wook is better director than Joon-ho, but they're both amazing. I love him.
Yeah.
It's not like a huge difference. But...
he wasn't even mentioned.
Yeah. No Michelle Haneke, no Jodorowsky.
The ordering was all weird. It's funny. Wes Craven. I don't know.
Was Bergman on there?
Even if you wanted to be like a real like snooty Criterion head, like Bergman wasn't on the list.
Yeah, George Romero.
Yeah, there's some weird ones when you got.
It's just on the top of my head.
You got no Bergman, but
yeah, no Bergman.
You got no fucking Russian man that made Mirror Tarkovsky. Thank you. I said thank you to my brain for remembering it. Yeah, love Tarkovsky. Well, can never satisfy everybody, but we went through the list and
it's just it just seems like another one of these lists designed to annoy.
There's a lot they haven't mentioned. A lot they haven't mentioned. Jonathan Glazer.
Yeah, he's made 3 movies, and like, there's some people on the list that have made like only 2 movies.
Nicholas Roeg.
Shit. Yeah, there's plenty of really
you
great.
You could put Peter Jackson on there too.
Yeah, Peter Jackson's. Yeah, that's a weird one. If they're gonna include the Wachowskis and like, other directors who have made like some great things and kind of don't have the best track record, but have some mark on history.
Point,
Peter Jackson should be
according
on there.
to this list. Right. Yeah, like George Lucas has made a couple of great movies, but like it seems like if you made one, you should be on there.
J.J. Abrams is on there, but Peter Jackson isn't. That's what I find quite weird.
Yeah.
Whatever. Also, they don't give a shit about like animation directors too.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, no Miyazaki.
No Baumbach.
Yeah.
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 Fucking Venom, Carnage. We watched it.
Let there be bullshit.
Let there be Carnage.
Venom, let there be carnage.
French title is Ça va être Carnage, which translates to There will be a carnage.
There'll be a carnage.
Yeah.
There will be blood.
Yeah.
Venom, there will be blood.
What'd you think? Was it the best movie ever?
Yeah, it was another Venom. Oh, where to even begin? Where to begin? Like,
you guys like Aquaman, or like you like Aquaman?
There's more interesting going on directing-wise in Aquaman than any of the Venom movies.
Okay, I don't throw fire on Aquaman.
Tom Hardy's really funny.
I mean,
you reckon?
That's my logic. That's my justification for this.
That's part of what I was so confused about is because I don't remember there was comedy in the first one, but it's almost like ramped up to trying to mimic almost like a Marvel movie in this one. The level of like jokes and quips that they're throwing out there in this one, and it was just a very odd tone. I don't understand like what it is about these movies I'm supposed to.
It's very schlocky. It's very schlocky.
Yeah, because I was kind of
and, like, don't take it seriously at all. Yeah.
Well, I was kind of I like the idea of that, like a stupid fun using the Venom character and his gimmicks for like fun action and silly comedy. I can get down with that in premise, but the execution is like the laziest shit ever.
It is kind of lazy, but it's just like totally capitalizing on like the Venom name. Like, people would like this kind of thing now. Just like pump out a superhero movie that's like with Venom in it. And like now there's like this villain that's like never been seen, played by like a big actor, and like everyone's excited to see like, oh, Carnage is played by Woody Harrelson. He's playing a Cletus or whatever. And it's just like so ridiculous. Like I guess it had to be made, right? Like I guess like it feels like such an early 2000s like superhero movie. Like that's feels like.
I agree.
It feels like Fantastic Four or like some shit like that. Like,
but it's like successful.
Really dumb.
Yeah, like Daredevil or some nonsense. But even those, I feel like there was a bit more like heart and effort and like I don't know. Dare I say self-awareness?
There's definitely a nostalgia to those. Like I really enjoy rewatching those just for like
they have a bit more character.
Reasons. But yeah, they aren't bad, and like so is this. But there's much more going on here. Like there's good actors, I think, like Michelle Williams.
I would say like some of the casting's like distracting in terms of like how good like the actors are. Like Stephen Graham. I was not expecting him to play such a role in the movie. He's like a policeman, a detective.
Yeah,
he plays. I
failed to understand like the point of his conclusion.
Yeah,
because they established another thing that was confusing was like it's not just Woody Harrelson, but he has this whole backstory with his girlfriend who has nothing to do with Venom, but I guess is like a super powered person who's got like an X-Man ability to like scream really loud because that's the weakness of Venom's. It's like almost condescendingly stupid. Like the rules are just like, right, we got two like invincible creatures, except they have two weaknesses: sound or fire. And they keep reminding you of that, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's like written backwards. It's like everything has to get to that church scene, so the red Venom can fight the black Venom, and that's like,
And that's it. Yeah.
and there wasn't even that much action.
I
Like,
know.
a surprising lack of action.
Mostly comedy. Yeah. It was mostly like just dumb comedy.
Because I figured that's what like people liked about the first Venom, right? It was like we'd never seen, at the very least, we'd never seen Venoms fighting before, and you get that mess of like goo, like just going crazy and filling the screen.
It's a goop
in
movie.
That first movie. Yeah, it's just goop movie.
Bunch of goop clanking and whatever.
A goopy movie.
And I figured they were going to like double down on that side of it, but they kind of did the opposite. It's more like a buddy comedy thing, or like a buddy
kind of
movie with like Venom
Yeah.
and Tom Hardy like learning to get on.
Get
Tom
it
Hardy
on.
just,
I guess
like,
if you find
talking
it
to
funny,
himself,
but
basically, yeah. And then they CG animators like put Venom around him, like knocking into furniture.
it's like, is that supposed to be like the hook?
And he shows his face every once in a while for no reason, even though he's
Yeah.
inside his head.
I guess so.
Yeah.
It just seems like padding to get to the fight at the end with Venom.
Yeah,
and
but like,
Carnage.
what is this movie?
You know,
it's
like-
just like there's less
It's just the
exposition, I
formula.
guess, but then there's also nothing
Yeah.
that happens. You know.
Mhm.
So the first movie, it was pretty dull building up to when they get to Venom. It was like, okay, it takes forever. He breaks into the thing and there's a motorcycle chase or whatever. It's like played fairly straight for that, and then it's like, oh, he gets Venom, and then there's a buddy interaction or something, right? And people are treating the second film as though it's like so much more self-aware because more of it is just that. But it's like, I don't know. This is also kind of just logically where the story is now. Like, I don't know where else you would start it. It's not like Venom would be missing for the first half of the movie for no reason. I don't know. It's just, it seems to have the exact same level of self-awareness as the first one. I got pretty much the same experience out of it. It was not really funny to me. It was very boring. Very, very boring.
That's one of the things I was most disappointed by, because I figured there was room to make it crazier and wackier and more self-aware in that way. That's one of the only ways I could imagine this kind of thing actually working. But I don't see that self-awareness. It just comes across as badly written to me, and just like corny and stupid, and
It's
like
just
nothing.
written as like
nothing
it's just
matters.
written as a crowd pleaser. Though.
What crowd?
Yeah, I guess.
My theater was packed.
Yeah.
For this.
I
It
just want to
was,
know these people. I just don't understand.
They were just. I mean, it seemed like they enjoyed the movie. Everyone was just quiet, respectful. That was good.
Good.
That helps with the experience.
Yeah, I had a similar thing. It was like really busy when I saw it, but there wasn't much laughing for how many
it was-
jokes are in the movie.
Dead silence.
There was like chuckling.
Yeah, what is this movie
I
then?
think
Like,
everyone was just watching it. Like, I don't think people need to like
I think-
laugh to
I
enjoy
think people
it.
are just like really fascinated by the character, you know? Because like Venom is a previously
Yeah, I think
existing
that's it.
property. Everybody loves it. Like, I fucking love Venom. You know? Like, there's.
Mhm.
I like the character. I wish it was rated R or some shit. I wish they actually did something
Yeah,
with
I
the
was
fact that
thinking
he's
that.
Venom. You know, you have this character that's
Yeah,
like,
it's so
you're a
tame.
symbiote. You can fucking take over people's bodies. You can bore people or whatever the fuck. Like,
Yeah.
destroy them. Like, there should be people being ripped in half. Just fucking get James Gunn to direct a Venom movie or something, right? Like, what is this nonsense? Like, I get it. People are going to see it
Yeah.
either way because it has Venom in the title, and they did, and it made a lot of money, and there was a sequel, and this made some money, probably, you know? Like, this is just what we're going to keep getting because we're rewarding them like this, you know? Like, fuck.
Yeah, if
Like,
you're
what-
not
do we
going to
not want
include
something better?
Spider-Man, if you're like not going to include Spider-Man, because I can get down with a tamer version of Venom that is being used to tell a fun story with Spider-Man, like that's a good idea. Or yeah, like you're saying, have it be a standalone Venom thing, but embrace the comical violence that people like about that character, because it's part of his thing. It's part of the movie where he's hungry all the time because he needs human brains, right? Which he can only get from like chicken and chocolate or whatever if he's not eating human brains. But that could be fun. That someone is eaten in the movie, and it's like, really? There's like one? But that would be
doesn't have
something,
even-
you know? Then it would be something to, like the Deadpool thing. It's like, yeah, it has the crazy violence, it has the comedy, the tone's consistent. I never got a vibe of like what it was trying to go for in this movie, because it does also want to get you invested in like the serial killer backstory, and there's this confused like animated sequence that shows his childhood and stuff.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, when they showed that towards the beginning of the movie, I was like, oh, is that gonna be like part of the visual language of Venom now? Are there gonna be like animated sequences? Is that like something Andy Serkis wanted to bring to this? But no, it's just like one like throwaway scene. I just don't. What is this movie? And then you go to like the weird like partying scene where Venom's he's like dancing with all those
That seems like, what the fuck?
glow sticks around him. And there's like a cameo. Little Sims is there singing Venom. Just like a super weird like cameo joke. I guess it's supposed to be a joke. But so what is funny about it?
He's in a place where you wouldn't expect him to be. Ha. This movie is so fucking lame. It's so tame. It's so held back.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly, you
Right.
could tell me this movie was rated PG and I'd believe you, except they said one word fuck
Yeah.
at the end. He said, fuck this guy. As if that was like a big moment. Like, oh, haha, he said a fuck now. It's like, fuck.
They kill the villains, I guess.
They kill
we're
everybody like
spoiling it.
off screen.
Yeah, anytime there's about to be violence, they cut.
It's like you can barely tell it's happening. It's like, oh, I guess that I was supposed
It's like
to
a Looney
believe.
Tunes
It's not even
cartoon at the
Looney
end when she
Tunes.
gets crushed.
Looney Tunes is like more violent
Oh my God.
than Venom. Looney Tunes actually shows more shit than Venom. This is just
Yeah, it
this is so like insulting to the audience. I don't understand how anybody could watch this and not feel like offended by it. It's just like you don't show anything, and it's cheated so poorly. Like a great example of not showing something but still believing that it's happening is Michelle Haneke's Funny Games. Obviously, completely different movies. Whatever, second. But that's an example of being able to not show something on screen, but you still have the audience believe it happens because of how it's cheated out, because of how it's done. That never happens once in this movie, and obviously not the same caliber of film, not the same genre, but they're doing the same thing in terms of you're having an action take place off screen, and we're supposed to believe as audience members that it happened, but never once does it feel like it happened. Never once do I get like, oh, like, wow, he just got eaten by like it's cheated so poorly that it always takes me like 10 seconds after the fact to be like, oh, I guess that was supposed to imply that there was someone being eaten off screen right there. It's always so poorly made and confusing.
Yeah, like you remember that scene in Shazam where there are those like monsters in the boardroom? Like those things are like scarier than Venom.
That was a good
It's
scene.
all about how you present it.
That was
Yeah.
PG something.
But is it even trying to make Venom scary? It seems like they want to make him like a cool, like, yeah, let's plug him
best
into
friend.
a group MCU type thing.
Yeah, he's like he's an antagonist, but he's also, the good guy in this
When
movie. So
When did he ever antagonize? like when
in Spider-Man 3, he's like the bad guy.
exactly.
It's written like in comic books. That's how it's written to be. But they have to make Sony has to make something with Venom so they can work in Spider-Man somewhere at some point. That's why they kept making movies.
Mm-hmm.
The after credits tease. Can we talk about it? Can we just spoil it?
Yeah.
Because
Spoilers, everybody.
we have to
for
address
Venom.
it, I guess. Yeah, spoilers for Venom.
Yeah, should we move it?
Carnage.
We should probably edit that earlier. Yeah.
What did we spoil? Nothing. There's nothing to
Yeah,
spoil
I
about
think we
this
spoiled
movie.
The bad
There's
guy
literally-
dies. I said
Oh,
the bad guy. I
no.
said the bad guy dies.
I didn't think that would happen. This
Maybe
is an
nowadays.
unspoilable movie aside from maybe the end credits.
It's pretty dumb. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about that side of it. I can jump into this with a comment left by Proud Asparagus 1934. He said, "For Ralph, what are you going to spend that sweet $55 on?" Because the end credit like reveal it's like the end of a Marvel movie basically.
It's the stupidest thing, but yeah.
Like it's Venom suddenly explains to Tom Hardy that he's seen things. Like the symbiotes have knowledge that would break his little brain, and then you're like, what does he actually do? Can you like explain what happens? It's clearly linked to the MCU.
There's
and
like
it
a
shows...
flash, and then it goes to a different universe. Like
My interpretation is that the plot of the next Spider-Man film is Peter Parker going up to Doctor Strange and saying, "Hey, change things back to before people knew who I am."
it's that.
And then he does that, and then it changes the whole universe. And so now Venom, I guess, also consciously is warped into a different universe because, I don't know, his brain's special or something. and so they're like, oh wow, we're in a different timeline now. So it's because of the events that happen in the next Spider-Man film that changed the timeline. Does that mean that Venom will be in the next Spider-Man film? I don't know. Either way, they've at least referenced Spider-Man, the Tom Holland, in the Tom Hardy Venom film. I'm not sure that was what the bet was for, but whatever.
Yeah, that is
Take
what the bet was for.
Yeah,
Yeah,
take the $5.
yeah.
It is like him. He like licks the screen. There's like a TV screen, and the MCU Spider-Man is shown on it,
Yeah,
and then Venom
it's
licks
the end
it.
of Far From Home when like Peter Parker is shown on the TV. I guess spoilers for Far From Home, but like that's everyone should know that by now. It's like Peter Parker like shown on television.
So was Venom like recognizing him? Were they saying that he's interacted with Spider-Man, or is this like a?
It's just like
A
he just looks at
multiverse.
TV. Yeah, like I'm like, is he gonna like, kill him? Like, why would he have anything against this random guy that's not even in his other universe yet? Like,
Well, yeah, that's why I was confused.
Spider-Man's
Like, were
not
they
in the other
saying?
one, right? Or is he? And they're just
Were they saying that like Venom has interacted with Spider-Man before? Is
He's
that what they're saying with
horny.
that? Or-
I don't know.
Yeah, he's just horny for Spider-Man, I guess.
Duh.
We haven't talked about the horniness. It's kind of
It
must be
movie.
part of the appeal of
It's
Venom.
a fucking fetish movie.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Like the Woody Harrelson's character, he kills that guy
Sure.
in the prison by like shoving one of his tongue tendril down his throat, and there's all the kind of
I
sexual
wasn't even thinking
comments
about
in
that.
the.
There's
in the
the
dancing
overt
scene.
scene in the bar. That's like the scene that like everyone's talking about.
But what about when
when it comes to that shit?
when Woody Harrelson breaks his
He's so
girlfriend out of
beefy.
prison, and she's like, "Oh, this is so hot. This is like the hottest." But that was
Yeah.
pretty
So
weird.
weird.
It's literally just a fetish movie.
I guess it can be interpreted that way. Yeah.
Sure.
I think it's just for people like Venom, and
Yeah.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man fans.
Yeah.
But I want to like Venom, you know. I want to understand what it is about Venom that people enjoy. But if
The
it's
name.
based off these movies, I'm just so confused. Like,
I just like
d-
Spider-Man. You know, Venom's connected to Spider-Man. Like
yeah, I
the-
like
we
Spider-Man.
finally get to see Carnage. You know, I said there's a big appeal to like Woody Harrelson as Carnage, playing that. I just thought of Cletus from The Simpsons. Whenever they said Cletus, but that character, you know, that's a big deal. It's probably the best villain I've seen recently, in like out of any of these superhero movies.
Carnage.
Carnage. Yeah, like I don't know.
Hmm?
At this point in Marvel, they're like running out of them. You know, they're running out of. That's why they want Venom, you know, tied in. That's why I always knew they were going to tie in Venom to Spider-Man. Like they have to. Sony has to put Venom in the MCU because like, what are they going to make Spider-Man movies and not put Venom in at some point? Like it's a great idea, and that's what they did. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I was just more convinced that like Kevin Feige would not allow this version of Venom in because it would annoy him.
Well,
'Cause,
yeah,
like
'cause it's
they're
so-
scrapping all
'cause it's
those
so
like X-Men
inconsistent.
movies.
Yeah, it's so inconsistent with the brand they've been building up. It's like much goofy.
That's what shocks me
darker.
the most. Yeah, like
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, what else are they going to do at this point? They have to, like, you have to put Venom in because people want to see Venom in Spider-Man. He's probably the most popular character. Like,
But
one
then
of the
we're in
most
a situation again where they've kind of skipped the story.
Yeah, sure, but this next movie, they have like every villain. They have the Green Goblin, like Doctor Octopus. Like for the one after, like, what are you gonna do? You need Venom, or you need something like that. Like Sony's really built something up here, like on its own, and like I guess they're gonna have a piece of at the MCU now.
Here's the thing.
That's like
though.
the only reason this movie exists.
when we were talking about the bet initially, and I don't remember the exact phrasing, but I listened to it like again a week ago. My level of disbelief in terms of like an imaginary theoretical like Venom being included in the MCU, what I was thinking was impossible would be like, yeah, Venom being like the villain in like a Spider-Man, like a Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. Is like, yeah, there's no way they would like do that.
They're
sort
gonna
of thing.
do that.
In terms
That's
of
gonna
like,
happen.
we'll see. But in terms
That
of like,
probably will. Yeah. F yeah.
in terms of like a Venom sequel existing and them referencing the Tom Holland universe at the end of it, I don't think that's too far fetched. I'm not surprised by what I saw, but I'll still give you the $5
Sure.
because everybody agrees that I lost. But yeah, that's
Okay.
not. If I were to phrase myself more specifically, back when I said it, it would have been something a little bit different. However, there's no way to There's no way
it's
to
not a big
account
deal.
for like all these future possibilities of like, oh, they reference him at the end of a Venom movie or something. Like, of course, I was never going to be that specific. It doesn't make sense to me.
I just figured they would announce it at least, and I guess it's technically an announcement or whatever.
I don't know if
But
it'll
like
go much further
I
than
guess
that,
at some
though,
point they could
is what
make
I'm
the
saying.
Venom versus Spider-Man movie or whatever, where they team up and then they go fight Carnage at the end. It's like Godzilla versus King Kong, do something like the same formula like that. It is a thing in Hollywood. Who the
But
hell
like,
knows?
does this mean that like this Morbius Jared Leto movie is gonna be like in the MCU as well? It's
I don't
really
know.
confusing to me. I've never seen these different worlds overlap.
Well, how it's done, yeah. It just seems like that's just a different universe, and now Venom has been plucked out of that one. So now Morbius is in the Venom universe, but Venom isn't in it. I think that's like,
What's going on?
Does that make sense?
What we saw at the end of the film was essentially just a cutaway gag. It was something like akin to
Yeah,
like
sure.
a Family Guy joke or something, right?
Maybe, or it could be like a really serious.
Is that how you
implication.
interpreted it?
I think it's a serious implication though. Like, is Michelle Williams' character whatever in that the girlfriend character?
I think that the most that we're going to get out of Venom in the next Spider-Man film is going to be a similar cutaway gag to Venom doing something somewhere. I don't think he's going to be like a main villain. I don't think he's going to be a main villain in Tom Holland's Spider-Man film in the next one, or any if they decide to make more of them.
They're never gonna make a Venom movie or make him the villain.
Not
They're
in a
not gonna
Tom.
make Venom the villain?
No, they're not. They're not going to
Like even
seriously
briefly,
include.
not for like the entire.
They'll do a
movie, even
cutaway
just
gag or
briefly.
something again.
For
Like
a little
that's
cameo.
that seems
I can see a
unsurprising.
cameo.
Okay.
Yeah, a
Let's
cameo or
see.
something like that. Like
Who
because
the hell knows?
that's what this was. It was a reference to Spider-Man. I still don't see Venom showing up and being like the actual villain in a Spider-Man movie. Is what I'm saying. But
Okay.
I'm not gonna make another
We'll
bet.
see.
I already lost the bet.
Yeah, because I
so.
think they would want to do it themselves. Because that's what my whole thought process was that they wouldn't want to include the terrible Venom movies in the thing they've carefully curated themselves, and wouldn't want to just shove in this like awful shit. Like it just makes no sense.
Yeah.
But it was wrong.
Yeah, it's strange. I don't know.
I guess it's just
Just
so
this whole
popular.
situation.
Like people like it, they go out to see it,
Made money.
they're gonna reference it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's,
make
just,
money.
it's really light entertainment. Yeah, people really like it. It's
Uh-huh.
just light, fun. Yeah.
Did you like it when Carnage screamed, "Let there be carnage"?
Oh yeah.
That was great.
Was that supposed to be like a self-aware moment?
It's a really fucking forgettable movie.
Oh, it's crazy forgettable.
Nothing
It was,
happened.
kind of.
There literally nothing happened in the entire movie. They complained to each other at the beginning. They were like, we don't like each other anymore. We're buddies, but we're gonna be not friends." And then they separate. Venom goes to a bar, into a rave or something. Carnage breaks out, and then like picks up his girlfriend, and then they fight at the end, and that's it. Like literally nothing else happened in the entire movie. I don't know how that was. What was it? An hour and a half or something? I don't know what happened the entire time.
Yeah, it's super short.
It's fucking
really
nuts how
short.
nothing happened.
It's so like blink and you miss the fucking whole movie. It's
Yeah.
so short.
So forgettable.
I guess that's a good thing because it doesn't keep you in the theater too long. Like it's just such a
Yeah.
light movie, like forgettable. But I guess that's what it wants to be, and it's just like whatever. Like it's just the Venom movie. It could be worse. Like it's just fine.
Mhm.
I've seen like it's not as bad as Suicide Squad. Like,
Of course. Most movies aren't. Yeah. Nothing special happening in the directing. Nothing special happening in the writing. Doesn't feel like there's any passion behind this whatsoever.
it's a very studio movie.
Yeah. Like nobody cares about
Very
anything that they're
average.
creating. It's not for any purpose.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, most important part, I wasn't entertained by anything. It was just so boring. It's fucking boring and forgettable.
Yeah, it's crazy boring. Any thoughts on Andy Serkis's direction?
It was bad.
Yeah.
You couldn't
I
even
don't think
tell
you'd ever
it was
know it was
directed
him.
by like anybody. I don't know his directorial
Yeah.
style. You can't even tell it's directed by a human being. It's just like
Yeah.
could have been a computer.
I thought that it was kind of
Yeah.
noticeably bad if we're going to talk about like framing, because like everything was like way
Yeah,
too close.
sure.
You never got
Mhm.
like a good sense for the environment. Like that was distractingly bad, honestly. It was way too tight. And
They
so
probably
many-
just got him for the name. Yeah, he's just like a big name.
Yeah.
People know him.
I know special effects. I can be a director.
He,
Okay.
he's in the
Mhm.
MCU.
Do you think that action was as bad as that first movie? Because I remember actually getting a headache in the climax like fight scene on that spaceship.
Yeah, I
in
think
that
the
first
action in this
movie.
one's better.
There was less of
I
it.
could kind of tell what was going on, but yeah, there
it's
was way less of it.
Yeah. I feel like the action's the
And it's
worst
just
part.
not interesting.
Like it's just like Venom. It's just a bunch of goop, like
A
fucking
goopy movie.
whatever. Like I can't even tell what's going on in both of them. It's really just like the comedy and like Tom Hardy walking around with him talking to himself as Venom. Like that's it. It's like a stupid sketch movie.
I want to eat a human, not a chicken.
Yeah, lots of slapstick
They
comedy.
just eat
and-
chickens, yeah. And there's like a bag, and there's like a bag in their apartment that they beat up or whatever. The apartment's destroyed. Venom jumps out
I
the
would have
window.
thought the people
It's just a
who
bunch of dumb
enjoy
gags like
the
that.
the like excessive edginess of Venom, the comedy side would be like annoying because it distracts from the edginess.
Yeah, it's not that edginess at all. Yeah, that's why it's probably better. Like I don't like the edginess.
But that's why I'm confused, I guess, because I thought that's why people like Venom, because he's edgy.
Sure, that's like the hot
don't-
topic crowd.
You can have something that is more mature and more impactful without it necessarily being called edgy, right? You can have something that's like R-rated without needing it to be classified
Needs
as
to eat
edgy,
brains.
right?
Yeah.
I just don't know how you can do Venom without some edge in it.
Venom.
Yeah. It's just it doesn't. I've seen so many other PG-13 movies that weren't like this disrespectful towards the maturity of its audience, you know? I've seen so many other PG-13
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
Again, you just mentioned that scene in Shazam. Again, we can think of like the Raimi Spider-Man films. We can think of so many other
Yeah.
movies where it's like, oh, there's actually some impact happening here. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I believe every second of it. But, you know, you should be at least believing a bit of the violence or the action, you know? Like just for a moment to believe that, you know, there was an impact from one one goop to another goop, you know? There's no moment of like any believability for anything at any point. It's just, what did I watch? It was a nothing movie. It was an entire nothing movie.
I'm just waiting to see an example of this character done in a way that's like interesting to me. 'Cause at least in cinema, his track record ain't great so far. Like it's been a joke pretty much since the
A
beginning.
standalone film would have been the point to do it. Remember when it was announced and people were like so hopeful about this? Like, oh, standalone Venom.
Yeah, it's gonna
Yeah.
be violent and true to those comic runs where he's like standalone, going around eating
Yeah.
people.
Because that almost seems like this justification for making it standalone. Like, it's too mature for the other universe.
Yeah, exactly.
sure.
Right? What a wasted opportunity. Go fuck yourself, Sony. They're so bad.
Yeah, they're so fucking bad.
Yeah, never get
What
your
are you
hopes up
doing?
with Sony.
Unless it's Morbius.
Oh,
We'll hype for
Mr.
that.
Leto. Why wasn't Andy Serkis on the best directors of all time list?
Yeah, Mowgli just floored me.
Yeah. Why wasn't John Watts on the best directors of all time list? It's amazing that I know his name from memory. I think that's sad, actually. He doesn't deserve to have a name remembered. All right, 2 out of 10. The same as the first movie. I swore in memory that for the first movie I had it like a 4. I swore that it was like a 4, and I looked at my IMDb. I was like, oh, a 2, because I've forgotten most of the movie. Like, there's only like tiny snippets in my memory. Like, fuck, my brain for remembering that film is like the inverse of Swiss cheese. You know, like it's mostly whole.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's dumb. It's stupid. It's like a 2000s superhero movie. Well, it is a 2000s superhero movie. It's not early 2000s. It's like Fantastic Four or something fucking stupid like that. So I like it. I think it's better than like a 2 out of 10.
I know.
Yeah. No, I can't. I gave it 1.5 star. I gave the original 1 star.
Oh, so that's a
I like
3
it
out
a
of
bit
10.
more. Yeah, so a 3 out of 10.
So you think this one's better?
I think it's slightly better than the original. I can actually remember some of it a bit more, and
The scenes of like Woody Harrelson.
I guess there's some dynamic going on with like Tom
those scenes are like
Hardy.
trying to be like the Dark Knight, like with like Carnage and Tom Hardy in the prison, like those scenes. That makes it a little better.
I guess he actually does about an equal amount of investigative journalism. In both
Like,
movies.
which is like barely any.
Which is barely any, yeah. And it's like, yeah, it's just about the Venom like comedy shit. Like, I guess if you find their relationship like really funny, and you're like seeing the goo face like come out of his back and talk to him, but it's just like really messily like told. Like it doesn't look cool. It doesn't look impressive to me, and especially when it does devolve into these huge like fight scenes on a church. It's like all this like really bad looking CG anyway that has like no crunch or
And it's just so dark. Yeah.
yeah. The Venom fans are gonna have to fill me in on this one because I don't really get it.
It's just a crowd pleaser for me. I'm not a Venom fan. I don't
See,
know.
'cause I considered like the normal MCU movies to be like crowd pleasers. This is
Yeah,
like,
that I can
Spider-Man
understand,
movies are
at
usually
least.
better than this.
it's like dumb.
This
Yeah.
is like worse than most of the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
Venom.
It's trying to be like Spider-Verse at the end with like the portal or whatever to a different dimension. It's just like all trying to be like that now. It's so
And the new
dumb.
Eminem song wasn't even like funny really. His bit in it.
Yeah.
No, it was forgettable. Did he do it like other people? Or is it just him?
There were some other
He's
people
just
in
like
it.
featuring this
Yeah,
time.
it's like a collab. Yeah, collab.
Yeah.
It's like a 2.5 out of 5 for me, not out of 10. So like a
Yeah.
5. It's just average. Like that's what it's trying to be. It doesn't make it like good. It's just like, okay, it was aiming for the middle.
Mm-hmm.
It's really like whatever. Okay. I guess what else are you gonna do with Venom? It's like a fucking stupid idea.
I
And
don't
They
know.
just want to make. They just want to put him in the MCU. Like that's the only reason they're even making the movies. It's like the reason they made the Amazing Spider-Man movies because they want to keep the rights.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, I guess it has to exist. At least it was like somewhat entertaining. Like the actors got paid, right? Some good actors got a lot of money.
Can we all
That's
at
why they do
least
it.
agree that Venom's voice is fucking cringe in these movies? Like, holy shit.
Yeah,
I don't
Tom
remember
Hardy
it being
does it.
that bad. Let
Yeah.
me eat him.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, it's so bad. So cringe.
Yeah. It's not as bad as Spider-Man 3 Venom voice, but it's still pretty bad.
It's not, yeah. Tom Hardy's better than Topher Grace and like
Give him a
those
cool
movies.
He's supposed to be
I'm
a
sure
cool
we'll have
character.
more Venom interpretations in the future that are going to be better than like this one.
Yeah. For more Venom
that'll be much
interpretations,
better.
go to e621.net.
Is he supposed to be
Other
cool?
actors
Is that
will
what it
play him.
is? Like I'm
Yeah.
supposed to be looking at him thinking this
He's
is
supposed to be a bad guy, but he's
This
also
is sick.
likable. He's like, everyone
Right.
likes Venom. Like they're
But, like,
looking.
they kind
there's
of
a point
write
they're like
him to
looking around for
be-
Venom. There's a whole point in the movie. Remember, they're like searching the city for Venom. They're like going into stores. Well,
Where'd
where's
he go?
Venom? We're
And
trying
then
to find.
it's the
yeah, like he's their
shopkeeper.
friend. like the shopkeeper's like, oh, I know Venom.
But
Yeah,
Venom's
well,
written like
inside
an
of her.
immature like
Whatever.
child. Like the way he
Yeah.
behaves is like super immature, and like in the
Yeah.
final action scene, he like retreats. He's like a
I'm
coward.
scared.
What's cool
He's
about
a
him? He's,
nerd
like,
on his
so
home
fucking
planet.
lame.
That's why he likes Tom Hardy so much.
Venom's just funny.
But if they wanted
Is
to
it
take that
funny?
angle, you probably could get comedy out of it.
Yeah.
They don't.
It is
It's like
funny.
they want
It's
both.
hilarious.
They want the cool imagery.
Did you laugh in the
It's
theater?
Venom. No.
I
Okay.
laughed once, and it
I
was
was
when
maybe chuckling, maybe smiling.
I laughed at
wasn't,
Michelle
like, belly
Williams.
laughing. Ah, ha, ha. But
Michelle
no, I wasn't
Williams
doing
had a
that.
funny bit in the interrogation scene. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but she like whispers Venom to Tom Hardy in the most bizarre way. It's like really weird. That was the only time I laughed the whole movie, and I don't know if that was even supposed to be a joke.
Yeah.
Shouldn't forget to mention those character posters that Sony released. Oh my god. Fucking
Legendary,
yeah.
yeah, that
Woody Harrelson's
Dopey.
haircut.
little chubby smile
Yeah,
he's got.
Cletus.
Like,
It
and
looks
then
like something's died on his head.
on Michelle Williams's character poster, in the bottom background, you can see this like female Venom shape, and they literally it was traced from DeviantArt fan art from
yeah,
years before. Someone found this out on the official character poster. They just traced it from DeviantArt of just, I
Oh, it's
guess,
so funny when
yeah.
people find that.
tying it in.
It's very fitting.
It is a fetish movie. We got girl Venom for
Yeah.
like a second.
Yeah, again.
Oh yeah, and
She's
she
in the
was like
first
she had
movie,
a
too.
different physique too. They gave like Venom, like it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
I
I'm
didn't
controlling a
notice
girl,
that.
so now it's a girl body. Like, what the fuck? Okay.
That's in the first movie, the female Venom.
Oh,
Yeah,
is
people
it?
must have
Because
just
I don't
liked that.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
remember
remember
that
because
zero
part. That was
memory.
so-
She kisses
that was
Tom
such,
Hardy
like a long part
as
of the
Venom.
movie. I remember that part. Yeah, that was really
Yeah,
funny.
yeah,
like,
because
that
Venom
part.
makes
Oh,
out with Tom
God,
Hardy.
they made
yeah,
out
the
with
first
each
movie's
other.
a fetish movie too.
Yeah.
The first movie has tons of that shit.
Yeah.
It's just like whatever.
Just watching
Venom.
the same movie twice, but shorter. Okay. Who do you want in Venom 3?
Well, that's the thing. 'cause,
Sorry,
like,
I've been really looking forward to this movie. Yeah.
in the first Venom, when they like showed the trailer and it showed the two Venoms fighting at the end of the trailer or whatever, I thought, oh, that must be Carnage. So those are like the two Venom characters I know of fucking Venom and Carnage.
Yeah.
Who else is there? They've already used Riot. Like how many other like just different colors?
Oh, we were talking about characters? I was going to say Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
As a Venom, yeah, I'd see that Venomized
Happy
Dwayne.
Venom.
Venomized.
I don't know. Jared Leto.
Venomized Morbius.
Michelle Williams could become a Venom, like evil Venom.
Purple
I don't know
Venom.
if they'll do that.
Bring back Bully Parker. Bring back Emo Toby.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Do you think they're going to have a scene like that? They're going to at least have a reference to that in the new Spider-Man. They're totally going to have like a emo reference, even if it's just a line of dialogue like
Yeah, maybe.
oh, you would look better if you dyed your hair black. You would be like, I don't do that anymore, or just some fucking nonsense.
I can imagine that more in like a Spider-Verse sequel than a. I'd be surprised if they did it in like the MCU one, but I don't know like what level of reference they're really gonna go for this movie. It's kind of scary. Like
it's gonna be
how
the
much
whole
of a
movie.
clip show it's gonna be.
Yeah.
You really think so? It's just gonna be.
Cruella was very successful, I think. Maybe.
Sure. I like Homecoming, so I think it'll be like that. I have hope for it.
I think it's just gonna devolve into Ready Player One. I don't know.
I hope not.
You really think it's gonna be that
saying.
bad?
I fear it's gonna be.
Because Homecoming, like, it had a heart to the story in terms of like the way they spun the Vulture and stuff.
Like, I don't think Venom is that. Like, I don't think it's as bad as that. Venom's like pretty straightforward. You know, this new one and the other one, first one.
Mm-hmm.
They're not like Ready Player One. It's not a bunch of references. They're just like dumb comedies. Like, at least it's straightforward. Harkens back to like superhero movies that are actually like entertaining, like Fantastic Four, which I never thought I'd use as a good. No, the one with Michael Chiklis. Not that one. That one sucks. There's like other kinds of Venom villains, like the goo or whatever gets on other people and it makes them different. Like there's one called Scream, I think.
Scream.
And there's like other ones. Yeah, it like looks like Venom, but it's not Venom. It's like different. So there's like a bunch of them. They can.
I suppose it could go on like animals or something.
Yeah,
Tiger Venom.
A giraffe Venom. Yeah, tiger Venom.
Yeah.
All right. Two of us saw Many Saints of Newark. I did not, and I don't really want to. So they can talk about it and spoil it, and I don't give a shit.
I woke up this morning. Guess you didn't see The Sopranos?
Yeah, so we got our Sopranos prequel movie now.
Yeah. We got ourselves.
I don't know how you felt about like the build up to this movie and like what it represents and everything, because I was really interested, and I thought the pitfalls it was gonna fall into, it didn't, but it was like a different type of pitfall it fell into, in my opinion.
What it represents. I don't
yeah, in terms of my biggest takeaway was I don't understand what about this story meant that it had to be a 2-hour prequel movie that wouldn't have been better explored in some kind of mini-series or something that closer resembled the original Sopranos material, because that's what's so good about the show. Yeah, exactly, because it's kind of being sold as, well, it says on the poster, who made Tony Soprano, and I suppose that's what it's kind of about.
Yeah,
but,
it's not about Tony Soprano, really. He's in it a decent amount, but yeah.
And that was one of my biggest takeaways was actually how, I was disappointed by that angle, because Michael Gandolfini, I thought, did kind of an incredible version of his dad, and I really wanted to see more of it.
There's a lot of good acting in this, yeah. Performances.
Yeah,
were
and I
great
don't really
all
have a
around,
problem
I
with the
thought.
cast or the acting.
Yeah.
It was just, it felt like a season condensed into 2 hours.
Yeah,
So
it was
nothing
just
really
focused on all these
gets room.
characters, yeah. And all of them had like basically an equal amount of time. It's just so
Yeah,
focused
it
on all
just
these other
feels
things.
so
It feels like a season of television, yeah. It feels like a TV episode also. It feels like you just watched The Sopranos, honestly, which I think
on
that's a good
fast
thing.
forward is the thing. Yeah, because it is written by David Chase and it has the
Yeah. All the
you can
fluff
tell
removed.
there's like a good story in there, and it has like some certain reveals about things.
Yeah. There's a lot of good symbolism.
Mm-hmm.
Looks good.
And you know the what in the original show, the way it's able to explore like sensitive socio-political like topics and whatnot through these really interesting characters. That's like one of the best things about Sopranos, and just the slow burn of it and how you just gradually learn everything about these characters.
Yeah.
It's just not there in the same way, I don't feel.
Mm-hmm. The appeal of this is like you see all these guys when they're younger. It's all the same characters, Paulie and Silvio, whatever. And there's definitely comedy to that. All those actors are good. Like all the cast they got. The guy from Ingrid Goes West, he's in No Time to Die recently. Like he's great as Paulie, or the guy they got to play Silvio. It's like that's the appeal, I thought. Like those parts are good.
Which again kind of seemed like a missed opportunity, because it seemed more like it was a bit more of a celebratory kind of like reference type thing where you know, they're saying all the things they'd say in the Sopranos, and it's almost more like, oh, I remember those kind of lines from the show type thing, as opposed to
it's a lot of
like
references.
filling in blanks.
Yeah.
You know, there's
It's
like
definitely
different
for,
ways
like,
to do
if
prequel.
you like the show, it's definitely for people who watch the show and enjoyed the show. They would definitely get a kick out of the
like
movie.
I don't
If
know
you didn't,
what
I don't
you'd
know.
get out of this.
You probably
if you
think,
didn't see
you
the
probably
Sopranos.
like hate it, or you probably think just like you'd get nothing out of it. This is not for you. There's a lot to get out of it if you've seen the show, though. It's definitely a good follow-up piece. It could have been a series because, like you said, there's like these scenes that are really good, and you're waiting for them to like lead to something, but you're just like, okay, that's the scene, and it's like, okay, could have had like a whole season of that kind of development, and it would have been really great. But you know, it's like, I don't know. It's like a lot of this, we're running into this problem now. Like, you don't know whether to make it a show, a miniseries, or a movie, or a short film. Like, you have no idea how to structure these things. Because this could have just been a show.
Yeah, it definitely could have been a show or a miniseries, because it makes the flow of the story very odd for a 2-hour runtime. I don't know how you felt when it ended, but I was like, oh, that's like the ending? Like it kind of pitters out.
I felt like it could have kept going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what they're planning, if they want to do
just
like
a
a
pilot.
trilogy of movies or... Yeah,
They
it did
could
feel
do
like
that.
a pilot.
I feel like they could do that. I'd see another one.
Another series with like all this cast.
I'd see a series of it or a movie sequel, you know, but there's just like, there's nothing even about it that's that a high production value that you couldn't make another movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They should have
that
just
was
like
another
thrown
thing.
down, they should have thrown down like 200 million to make like 5 of these. That's what they should have done.
If I knew there was more to this story coming, or that it was building to something, then... Because, it does feel like a lot of build-up.
Yeah. If they're making more of like fucking Halloween Kills or whatever, then you can make more Sopranos movies. Like people want to see them. Like what happened? It's a period piece movie. It looked great, but it's mostly a drama. It's mostly about just characters.
Mm-hmm.
And the actors are a bunch of, I don't want to say they're nobodies, but it's not like, you know, they're not Tom Cruise. It's about the characters and the writing. And like the television writers, that's what they're good at, like really developing people over a long period of time, not like 2 hours. But I still really like the movie. I want more of them. That's mainly I really like it. I see these criticisms.
Yeah, I guess I'm more hung up on the missed opportunity aspect of it, and how much potential is there with that cast, and what it could have built to.
There's not a lot there if you haven't seen the show. Yeah, I just feel that way.
But even with seeing the show, I feel like it's not like playing Red Dead 2 and it filling in like these essential gaps with characters and really making it like enriching the stuff you've seen before. I didn't feel that way as much.
They just had much more time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Just
The
a lack of
Sopranos
time.
is a show. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like to follow up The Sopranos, like at least if you had made it a series, you would have had a chance. But yeah, you just don't have the time to flush that out.
And even if you want to contrast it with something like El Camino, right, which was
there's
kind
been
of the
a lot of
opposite,
those
where
recently.
it's continuing, Well, I liked El Camino a lot more because
It's
I
like a
guess
little
one,
epilogue.
it wasn't a prequel, but yeah, and it was more of an
True.
epilogue
Yeah.
with a character that could have done with a bit more, and it did fill in some blanks and finish off and put a full stop on that character. Where this was kind of opening a new book with young Tony and seeing like the dynamics of when they were all young, but without it
Yeah.
really building to anything that's
Sure. There's the Deadwood movie too, which is a continuation of Deadwood after 3 seasons.
Yeah,
I liked the Newark movie better because it felt more like a film. It didn't feel as much as like a TV film like that one does, or TV movie. There's definitely parts in the Deadwood movie, like flashbacks to the show, in case like you don't remember what happened. This is like a way more artful than that. Like it assumes you've seen the show, and if not, it spoils things for you. Like it's way more like it's actually analyzing the show, and it takes the audience like a bit more like seriously.
How did you find the framing of the narration? Which I found kind of
Yeah,
surprising.
I thought the
don't know how
narration
to-
was good. Christopher Moltisanti, his son, he was
yeah,
like
it
a
starts
baby
by spoiling
in
the
the
Sopranos,
point.
basically.
Yeah, right away, right.
And there are moments where it kind of uses your prior knowledge of the Sopranos with like showing Tony, and then I did feel like it was like overcompensating sometimes with that narration.
Yeah, there's a lot of references. Yeah, there's so many references. All the characters.
But just I just
Carmela,
like give the
and,
audience some credit.
Artie, when they're kids, Artie shows up. It's Jackie, everybody. You know, it's just like all these people who just show up, and yeah, they're just there for fan service. Really, makes you wish they had like a whole series to like develop it out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
it
is
just
what they
didn't
should
leave
do.
that much of an impression on me.
It's because Michael Gandolfini's good. Like they have good actors, like Tony's mom. Like all those actors are good. They should just keep it going with them.
Yeah, I like the casting, but it's just so rushed. And like Ray Liotta plays like a cool character. He plays 2 different characters, and
Yeah, that was
they're very
kind of
distinct on their own.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, it's just you're really not getting enough of any of it. And like the Leslie Odom Jr., the guy he was in Music.
Yeah, his character's very underdeveloped. That's like one of my
that whole
criticisms
section of it about the riots, like it does feel like that would be like an
it
episode
does have
on
a
the
point.
show.
Yeah, it has a point in the story. It's like to cover up a body, basically, because the fire. They throw Molotov cocktails at like cars, so like the fire that makes sense. Like how he'd kill Ray Liotta's character, cover up the body in a fire.
Yeah.
Like it's believable. Like it's like that. That's it. Like that's the end of it. Like everything definitely builds to something. There's always like a payoff. It's just like I wish there was more time to like develop this out, like because the surprises are good. There's a lot of good surprising moments.
But yeah, the slow burn of the show as well is part of what makes
that
those
helps.
payoffs so effective. Whereas like the
Right.
main character is Dickie Moltisanti, who's mentioned a lot in the show. But it does feel like it just concludes too quickly. Like that scene on the beach with him and where it goes from there. It's just like, yeah, it just feels a bit rushed to me. I wish we just could have had more of it.
Yeah.
But yeah. What would you give it though?
What would I give it? I think for fans of the show, they're gonna like really like it. I give it 8 out of 10. But you really need to enjoy the show. Like it's definitely for that audience. I don't know if you're gonna get as much out of it if for people who haven't seen it, like Adam. Like I have no idea. It's like a good crime film, I guess. But there's so many crime films out there. I'd say The Sopranos is a bit more unique. This is like a good movie though. I wouldn't say it was a waste of time.
I'm like halfway
It's
through
solid.
season 2 on The Sopranos, and my original plan was to speed run through all of it before this movie came out, but I got busy, as is what always happens, and then the reviews for this weren't that good. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna take my time with this. I'm not gonna, yeah, I'll catch up on Sopranos
is great.
at some point.
It's a great show.
Yeah,
really great show.
I am a big fan of Sopranos. It's one of my favorite shows, but I guess I was just
Same
expecting
here.
too much from this, and I don't know if the 2 hours just gives it enough to leave an impression, and it's like nothing compared to Goodfellas or similar genre type movies. But yeah, I would be down to see sequels if that's the plan, but otherwise I'm like right down on the middle on this. I'd give this a 2.5, 3 star. I wasn't like annoyed while watching it, but it did end, and I was like, oh, that felt kind of like a missed opportunity to me. Especially getting like there's so many checkboxes that it's ticking. Like it has David Chase back, it has this cast that's doing like a really good job. It's really weird with the pacing and just the way the story comes together. Like I don't really want to see it again, which is unfortunate as like a big Sopranos fan. Yeah.
Cool.
If you like their show, check it out.
Yeah. I'll check it out in 10 years from now or something.
Got yourself a gun. That's the theme song for the movie at the end. It was kind of like bizarre, I thought.
Yeah, I didn't have that choice.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, I forgot about that actually.
But yeah, it's the ending is like it's a very dark ending. I'm like, oh, this is very sad or whatever, and then it's like to play the Sopranos theme. You hear it come in like boom, boom, boom. Got yourself a gun.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. That was an odd choice. There's a lot of odd choices here, but
All right. There was a movie recommendation from me called One Cut of the Dead. We will be spoiling it. If you haven't seen this film, go see it now. Press pause. Watch the movie. Come back. It's a single take zombie film, low budget, and all you need to know about it is that you should watch past the credits. All right, spoilers away. What did you both think of it? I love this movie. It's so much fun for me. It's a good vibe. It's a good mood.
I had such a fun experience watching
I like
this.
the first 40 minutes.
And nothing else?
Mm.
Alex, I would love to hear what you think about it, but I would just first like to say what I love about the movie is that it rewards you for noticing subtleties in the first 40 minutes. Like some are much more
for
overt
sure.
as it goes towards the end of the single take film. It's like obvious, like, okay, when it just holds on the main girl screaming, like that's one that everybody notices sort of thing. Right. And then later they call back to it and the producer's like, oh, wow, that's kind of boring. And then it explains it. But even further back in the film, closer to the beginning, where you're just like, you have these odd moments of just like, oh, the characters all kind of just like look to the side or they're like standing awkwardly or something. There's moments where they later on say like, oh, they were told to improvise. And she starts teaching about her POM technique and all that. I love that it rewards for noticing those things and it rewards for repeat viewings. It's a very satisfying multiple watch film. I love
they throw the arm like at them like through the doorway. Like it's like real moments like that, like, okay, that looks fake, but it's supposed to be.
See, it's fascinating you say what you say, Ralph, because there's the layers of the narrative that really got me invested into it and made me love it more the longer it went along and as it reveals itself, because we haven't really mentioned the comedic angle of it and how as it's gradually revealed how the first 40 minutes is kind of it's almost like backwards comedy. It's really unique in how like you're getting payoffs in the third act that you're interpreting in a completely different way but act as payoffs. Like the first 40 minutes is like I thought it was just a more standard horror movie experience, like a B movie kind of horror movie that it was going for. And like Ralph, I was finding more enjoyment from the way it was made as opposed to like properly engaging with what it was trying to do in terms of like any form of like narrative or the actual characters. As fun as it is especially with the director coming in and like the comedic timing of him shouting like action and pushing the zombies in, it's a fun hook, but it was in the back of my mind, where is this going? Like how can this go for an hour and a half with how quickly it's escalating? And when it starts breaking down into the backstories of all the actors, the characters, and the different levels of how they're planning this ridiculous shoot they've got to do, and then embracing the whole like chaos of filmmaking and every single element that goes wrong and how they manage to shamble together this cute like horror movie. It's like really charming and comedic, and you're right, it feels like there's a bunch of really satisfying payoffs for those that pay attention, because as soon as it finished I actually went back and rewatched the first 40 minutes to see what it was like again, and it's a completely different experience to watching it the first time. And I absolutely adore movies like that where it's like a different experience on rewatch after that first time, and that first experience is like such a valuable, unique type of storytelling that I can't believe they I didn't read it before watching it, but on the blurb of the Blu-ray, it kind of spoils that whole reveal, and I'm glad you like preface not to read anything about it, because it's that to me is one of the more unique aspects to it, and I can't believe they would blow that.
It's one of very few movies you can actually spoil.
Because if I knew that in 40 minutes the narrative was going to change and it was going to be about something else, yeah, it would have been a completely different, devalued experience.
Well, yeah, for me, that's the problem. It just becomes like a different movie after 40 minutes. It sells itself as something else, like in the beginning.
It's necessary.
It sells itself as a one take. It's necessary.
Yeah, I find it necessary because it addresses
if the first 10 minutes was like the rest of the movie, which is like, you know, like a normal film basically with cuts and just angles or whatever.
That would be.
And then it goes into a one take movie. Well, it's selling itself as a one-take horror movie, and then after 40 minutes, it just becomes something else.
It's if you're gonna get specific about it, it sold itself as having the first 40 minutes as one take, so it was not dishonest in that way, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I found it more like clever in terms of it tricking you into thinking that it's gonna be about that, but actually it's about something much more interesting. All the problems I was having with the campy B-movie stuff that. Yeah, I enjoy, and I do enjoy that kind of horror, but it's embedded into the story where it addresses all of these awkward points, as you mentioned earlier, in like the third act, and where it does go wrong in the process, and all these intricate little details with all the characters and fleshing out like each one of the zombies you saw in the first 40 minutes, whether it be the guy with diarrhea and how that plays into it, or the woman actor who's like just a bit too into the role and how that like causes chaos in the background. It's really funny. I was laughing and chuckling through that third act especially a lot. I found it really satisfying the way it comes together.
Yeah. The first time I watched this movie, I was like somewhat passively into the first act. I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting, just kind of watched as it went along. And then as the first act starts to come to an end, there are these weird things happening. They become more overt with the quote-unquote mistakes that they're making. And it's just like, okay, I'm not really taking this too seriously, but I'm continuing watching. Second act, when I experienced that for the first time, I'm like, oh, weird, what? And I was like kind of confused. And I wasn't super engaged in the second act at all. I found it kind of like dull and slow. However, as soon as it gets to the third act of the film, I was like, this is the best fucking movie ever. Like it was like, wow, I'm so glad this is happening. It was like cinema is alive. Like this is just such an invigorating, fresh, new, engaging, like hilarious experience. And every subsequent watch I've had of this film, I've seen this movie probably 4 times now. Now that I know what it is, and now that I know the absolute necessity of the second act and what it's going for and what the tone's supposed to be and what I'm getting out of it, that second act is like just a breeze. Like it's not only necessary, but it's like fun. And just learning about how they establish these characters and like plant all these little seeds, and his daughter watching the star of the movie at the beginning, and just like it's so, everything that's in this film is just so necessary for that experience that is just entirely unique. I haven't gotten this experience from like any other movie ever. It's not a perfect movie. It's not like a 10 out of 10 for me, but like in terms of like movies that I love, like this in the past 5 years, this is like way, way, way up there in terms of movies that I like actively try to share with people that I think just more people need to see.
Yeah, it's such an original take on kind of a done to death genre, and
yeah, they completely reinvented found footage.
And horror and comedy go together so well, especially the way it's done here, where it is played more for the horror B-movie side at the beginning, but then in rewatching that opening for a second time, it has more of a comedic. You read it more comedically, knowing the full context.
Yeah,
it's just such a clever structure.
And in terms of like concept, this is like really high up there for me. There's only a movie every, I don't know, 5 years, maybe decade, maybe like maybe even longer. There's only one movie every once in a while where you watch it and you're like, damn, they did it first and now you can't do it again. Like you see a movie like The Sixth Sense where it's just like, okay, you can't do that again. Like they did it and they got to it first, and whoever just, came up with that idea, it's like, holy shit, you actually did that and you pulled it off. But now nobody can do it again. This is one of those movies. Yeah, it's just fascinating. And what's particularly great about this concept is it really lends itself towards being low budget and small scale.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned the budget yet.
Yeah, budget converted to American dollars, $25,000. So like super fucking low budget, especially for what they're doing, how
That's
many people are involved,
budget, just about.
like the intricacy of what they're pulling off. And they made worldwide at this point 31.2 million. So we're talking like fucking Blair Witch levels of success here. We're talking like in terms of money into money received, like that's absolutely nuts. But what I was saying is like the concept alone like lends itself incredibly well to this low budget because, if you think about it practically, you can shoot the one cut take thing first, and let's say there is a quote unquote mistake, like something that you actually didn't intend, you can always retroactively explain it later. Like you have that opportunity to, because then you get to tell the story about like why this happened, why that happened, and make it whatever you want. Obviously, from what I can tell, the vast majority of quote unquote mistakes in that first one take film within a film, those are intentional because they all have just such specific payoffs towards them. You can tell, like, like the guy who has he can only drink soft water or whatever, like non-mineralized water, or else he gets bad diarrhea. And like the actors looking to the side and getting the prompts, like, like who knows if there were like little tiny quote unquote mistakes sprinkled in that were not intended and then retroactively explained. But for the most part, they are very intentional. So yeah, like it's like, remember we were talking about like bad taste, and I was saying that it's like a really shitty movie that has an awesome special featurette making of.
Yeah.
This is like an okay movie that has the best making of featurette, but it's still a part of the movie. And then there's another layer back where there was another, like the one cut take movie with it, like the director's not even in the movie. There's another, you peel back further into reality and there's another layer. And it's just like, it's so meta. And on the Blu-ray they have like a special feature where they have someone behind the cameraman with a GoPro filming what they're doing for like that 40 minutes. Yeah, you can see like tiny sprinkles of that in the end credits for the movie too. It's just like, it's so invigorating, and it's got so much of what I love about like the magic of cinema, and especially just like working on such a small budget and being able to take something so small and turn it into something so big, like regardless of whether or not they made a shit ton of money. I think the product itself really is a testament towards that. And
really impressive blocking and use of space too for that one shot. It's really well done, and even including just I really adore that aspect that it's the issues and problems I was noticing with it are like explained within the movie. Like I really like the whole director of photography with the bad back that falls over and then they change, and then you can tell, like when rewatching it, you can tell that it's like shot by someone else. Like it's really obvious on a subsequent rewatch, and it's like seeing the background like tension of them trying to make the human pyramid for that crane shot.
Oh, it's such a satisfying ending.
Yeah, the way it loops back on itself is satisfying is the word. It's just it's so satisfying the way it all comes together.
Yeah, it's like the perfect mood movie for me.
And
I don't know if you picked this up. It was mentioned briefly, but the person that picks up the camera after they fall down earlier in the in Act 2 of the film, there's like a short line where she is like going up to the cameraman. She's like, "Oh, don't you think it would be cool to zoom in and out really aggressively every time you see a zombie?" And he says like, "No, that would be way too cheesy." And then that's the same character. And so that explains like, when she picks it up and the guy's like, and you see all these whoop, whoop, whoop. And it's like, first time watching the movie, you're like, oh, interesting choice. You could interpret it as a little cheesy. Maybe for some people watching the film, it's effective. Like even though there is like a broad range of like what threshold someone can hit, or what parts about zombie movies or cliches or filming techniques can make someone irritated, like there's a lot of that in the first 40 minutes for me. But I'm imagining like, okay, even people that don't watch as many movies as me or don't get irritated by as many things as me, they might be able to watch that part and not necessarily go like, ew, gross, look at all those zoom ins, but still like kind of notice them. And especially when the film later explains it, right? Like, I think that this movie, in a way, is also kind of like an interesting, great, and fun way to get people to pay attention to more things about what they see in a movie. Because they're explicitly kind of saying like, oh, you know, these techniques are used and this is explained by that character doing that thing at that time in the fictional other movie that's created within the movie sort of thing. Yeah, so many layers, and just I get a crap ton out of this movie.
Layers like an onion.
Yes. And a cake. You know, without the second and third act of the film, I feel like I would be missing so much. You know, I love the Palm woman, and I love like the way her character is explained. And yeah, it's not like a perfect airtight realism movie or anything. Like, if you think about the way that things are set up, the fact that they're doing a single cut zombie channel film that is being live broadcasted is kind of silly. The fact that, you know, the mother character, director's wife, you know, her entire conflict is like, oh, she actually like, she'll get lost into the role and you can't control her anymore and she's gonna break someone's neck. Like, that's a really silly conflict, but for the movie, for what it is and what it's going for, it works. It just works so well. It's like it's like a cartoon for me.
Yeah, it fits with the time.
It's just I got a smile on my face just thinking about the movie, and that's why I recommended it. I was like, you know what? I could watch this again. You know, it's only been like a fucking probably a year or maybe two, but like it hasn't been that long since I started watching it, and this is already like fourth or fifth time or something.
Yeah,
and it's a good one to show people because of how it. Yeah,
because it's fun.
So was it really the comedy that missed for you, Ralph? Were you not finding it too humorous?
What about the comedy? I didn't like the comedy.
Because that's what was selling me as it was coming together towards the end.
I liked the comedy in the first part. I was really just missing the one take angle. Like, once it just
you felt robbed.
I did. I felt robbed. It just like totally lost me at that point. That was like what made it unique.
Yeah.
I thought that was really well done, that part. I think that's a compliment to the movie.
Do you think that if you knew going into the movie that the second and third act were the way that they are, that you would have a different experience?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a fan of it.
Like soured your mood?
Just switching. Yeah. It could have just been one take whole movie. I don't know how you would have done it. But
it would lose so
really
much for me. And I've seen other one take movies.
I just really enjoyed that gimmick. Yeah. It's not a gimmick. Sometimes it is.
It kind of is.
It's just really well done. It had like an absolutely perfect premise for this kind of film. Like, the cameraman's it's a great character. Like, it's perfectly set up. Like, it makes sense. Like, the director wants them to keep recording. Like, I'm like, wow, that's really funny. There's just a million things like that. Yeah, I don't know. It really worked until it becomes like a straightforward movie where they explain it.
I don't know if I could ever use the word straightforward movie to describe this movie, but I know what you mean.
In terms of how it's presented, yeah, like
it's the most unique movie that's come out in the past like 5 years.
Normally,
honestly,
it's cut normally. Yeah, it's shot. It has opening credits. Yeah, it's not like anything groundbreaking at that point. The opening shot, like the first take, is like the best part.
Yeah. I wouldn't.
That's like the unique part.
I would say it's the best part, but only with the necessary context of the second and third act. Without the second and third act, it wouldn't be anything really special to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat.
No, clearly, a lot of people are in that boat. That's not how I felt.
Speaking about Kimber and plagiarism,
you
read anything about this side of it? Where apparently some behind-the-scenes settlement had to be done with the writer or creator of a play that it was apparently kind of loosely based on, called Ghost in the Box or something.
Was not aware.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you'd already heard about it or not, considering the whole Kimber stuff and everything. But
yeah, I'm reading it right now. According to Wiki, he had stated that One Cut of the Dead was partially inspired by it, I don't see where it says there was a settlement.
I'm on this Variety article. Further adding to word of mouth was a suggestion of plagiarism that emerged in August. Director was accused of borrowing too much from a stage play Ghost in the Box, which had been put on between 2011 and 2014. The parties settled their differences and agreed to change the final credits of the film. The new credits now describe the film as a joint original work by the pair of them, English language credits for planning and development cooperation. Variety understands that there was also a financial settlement. Whatever that means.
Yeah. I would have to see Ghost in the Box to see how much is borrowed.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, like the I don't know, the concept of like a meta movie within a movie or play within a play, like Synecdoche, New York is an example that's existed from before too. It really depends just like what your vision is or what your gimmick is, or, you know,
it's the execution.
Yeah. Like I couldn't imagine, there's no such thing as this as a stage play. So I'd imagine it would still be possible to borrow a lot from something, but I have no idea. I would have to actually see it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just curious to throw out there.
Yeah. The music in this actually adds a lot. It's not like the most well-composed music ever, but it's not so bad and cookie cutter that it makes me like irritated. It's somewhere in between, but I'm glad it's there. Not only for the first act, but also for the second and third. It really helps helps the mood. It really enforces like this great happy feeling that I experience when watching it.
Remind me of the music in the second and third, because I mostly have the first act's kind of music in my head, the electronic stuff.
Oh yeah,
some funny sound effect usage as well.
At the end, near the end of the film, it's like like that. And then
that's
the
right.
end credits song is kind of a banger, but it also sounds like a ripoff of a 80s song that I can't remember the name of. It's like it got the same chord progression, but that apparently just every Japanese song you've heard is a ripoff of an American song. So I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't like the music in this
hyperbolic,
movie.
But is this okay? Yeah. That's interesting. I rarely ever hear you talk negatively about music, so that's why that's interesting to me.
Yeah. Well, it's not like scary, really. Well, once it becomes like it's just about the making of the movie, it has like just like music like that, like what you were doing,
like comedic intentions.
Like it's not horror movie music at all. There's no like any horror sounds but I guess that's a good thing. But it's just like nothing scary. It's just like I'm like, okay. It's good for like the comedic tone. Yeah.
I'm confused. Did you not like the music in the first part or the second part?
The second part. Yeah.
So you disliked it because it wasn't scary.
Was there any music in the first part?
There was
in the first 40 minutes? Yeah, it's just like horror movie music, right?
Yeah.
Then I didn't notice as much because it was just like a horror movie. Then I noticed more. The second part was like, that's I'm like, okay, this isn't even a horror movie anymore, right? This is just like,
no,
it's just about like the making of a film. It's just like about the making of a zombie film.
Yeah.
It's just totally becomes something else.
You're certainly not saying that if there was horror music playing in the second and third act of the film, you would like the music, though, right? Like,
I'm just saying I didn't like the music. I just didn't think it's like well composed music. I wouldn't listen to it on my own. Like I do, like I don't know. Not that I listen to the Shining theme. I think that's a bit more memorable though, or like something like that.
Sure. All right.
But it's not even trying to be a horror movie. It's just like it's just like okay.
Yeah, it's a horror comedy.
I didn't get any horror. Yeah, I didn't get any horror out of it at all at that part. Even a horror comedy like Shaun of the Dead, they use like music like really well. Like Edgar Wright, like the jukebox scene, like they're using music, and it's like it's not original music, it's licensed music, but still like that's funny use of music. It's not just like I don't know generic kind of like the stock.
I wouldn't call it stock, but I would call it well within the expected range of a $25,000 film.
Yeah, the budget.
It's kind of like shows. And it's like very yeah. Is that the budget? Yeah, that is very low.
Incredibly low.
You know, it's memorable.
A lot of actors for a $25,000 film. A lot of crazy cinematography for a $25,000 film. All right, this movie is an 8 out of 10 movie for me. I don't know. Sometimes I want to give it a 9, but I'm like, maybe we'll watch it another 10 times and see see if it gets there. But either way, regardless of the number I give it, this is one of my favorite movies maybe ever. Like it's one of those things where like I remember that it exists every few months and I'm like, fuck, I want to watch that, you know? If I hear of someone who hasn't seen it, I've got to introduce them to it. It's like it's one of those special things to me. So yeah, at least an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm up there with you. My gut wants to give this a 4.5 star, a 9 out of 10. I just value the uniqueness of my experience of this movie and rewatching that first 40 minutes and just the different payoffs and the different levels of it on that meta commentary and just what it's possibly saying about the filmmaking process and how an audience might attribute like value and interpretation to things and how much of it is intentional and how much of it is actors improvising or going off script or things on set going wrong. And it's just a fun movie about filmmaking and comedy. I really, really enjoy this, and I'll definitely be showing this to people. I think it's really clever.
All right, what, Ralph? 1 out of 10?
What?
Go for it. Do it.
No, it's not a 1 out of 10. I don't know. 3.5
Out of 5 or out of 10?
Out of 5.
Oh, really?
Out of 10. It's yeah, not that low.
All right, let's do some questions.
Okay, let's answer some questions from the Sardonicast community. If you want to leave your own questions,
Yeah.
head over to the suggestion thread on the subreddit, where you can ask us whatever you like. Just like Snug in the Void did, who's going to start us off here. A common criticism of horror movies is that the characters make stupid and unbelievable choices that lead to their deaths. What are some horror movies that break this by having the characters react to the threat realistically?
The Thing.
To me, yeah, you stole my one.
Did I steal yours?
The Thing is, yeah,
Sorry.
instantly pops to mind. It's part of
that's a
what,
good one.
honestly, it's part of what makes a lot of my favorite horror movies, as good as they are, is you have to have that grounded sense of realism if that's what you're going for, and that is what The Thing or like The Descent or something is going for, is people trapped in a situation and it's them not being idiots, trying to think their way out of a situation, and like the gradual decline of it. Texas Chainsaw I feel that way about as well, where the way it kind of escalates felt really natural and wasn't all from the characters just being stupid.
Yeah. I really disagree with the notion that stupid characters that make decisions that literally 0 real people on the planet would. I disagree with that being necessary for conflict. And there are just some people who, like, I guess have never seen a movie that does otherwise, that say, like, no, because if they didn't do that, there would be no movie. It's like, no, come on. like that's such a lazy excuse. Like,
Yeah.
not to say that you can't have a stupid character in a movie. Like, obviously, if that's a part of the character you want to write, then great. But oftentimes, it's literally just an excuse. It's a crutch. It's a reason to not put effort into creating any scenarios that are relatable or reasonable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There was a movie called Intregalde or whatever. It's like a Romanian movie that I saw at TIFF this year, and it was really great. And the characters were making decisions that I was like angry and upset at and irritated at. But at the same time, I was like, I can see someone doing this. And I was like, okay, you know, and it was one of my favorite movies from the festival. I was like, I can believe that this is something that would happen, that there is a type of person that would do this, that these characters aren't experts in this sort of thing, you know?
Yeah, the new Halloween, the characters are fucking stupid as shit.
Yeah.
Really?
They're terrible, yeah. They're like, let's go out and hunt Michael Myers, the 3 of us. Like, they leave, like, a secure hospital to go do this in the movie. Not to spoil too much, but it's like, why would you go do that? Like, why would you go hunt Michael Myers by yourself? And they don't even have weapons, really. I guess, they have, like, pistols or, like, you know, bats.
Oh, God.
It's just, like, such a dumb idea. And, you know, they get fucking slaughtered, whatever. It's just, like, it's so obvious. Like, yeah, I don't know. Don't go out and do that, I guess. So, what, like an example of like smart characters? I think
a horror
The Thing
movie?
is probably it. Yeah, that's very rare. The Thing's a good example.
Yeah, I mean, The Thing is definitely up there on examples. Depends how you define a horror movie, really. Like, I don't think I don't think any of the characters in like Nightmare on Elm Street acted too irrationally, like, right? They were just, it's like you you got to sleep at some point. They tried not to sleep. Like, what else do you do? Like, there's some movies where like the threat is just so overwhelming that they don't have to be stupid in order for there to be a threat. I haven't seen Nightmare in a while.
The Ari Aster horror movies are good at this. They create quite a realistic tone.
Exactly.
It feels super grounded. So when it does start popping off, it's extra horrifying.
Yeah.
Let's do this one along similar lines from Cole Sheila Britt. What are your guys' thoughts about horror movies having the same name as the original? Do you think it's laziness of the studio, or do you think it's another reason why they do that?
It's to trick
I
people.
saw the trailer for this new Scream.
We're on the topic,
Yeah, like, did you see the trailer for the new Scream?
Yeah, I did. When I saw Halloween Kills, it's called Scream. Or like the last Halloween that came out. It's
13
called
Reasons Why.
There's
Halloween.
three movies called Halloween. It's crazy. Like, you can't even tell them apart. For me, it's just a fucking scam. I think they should stop doing it.
They're tricking
like,
people.
it's really, it's tricking people. It's stupid, and they're just tricking people.
What, you think they're tricking people into, like, seeing the same film again? What do you mean? Is it like...
They're tricking people into saying, like, this isn't like a dumb sequel. Like, it's not called Halloween Resurrection or whatever. But ultimately, it's just like, what it is, it's like Halloween 9 or whatever. It's just like a marketing ploy to make it not seem like what it is, which is like the 9th sequel to a movie. So it's like, just keep calling it the same thing, Yeah, it's a soft reboot. Because technically, like the new Halloween, right? It's a soft reboot or whatever after Halloween 1. So call it Halloween 2. It's just called Halloween again. Like, it's not about making sense within like a chronology of an art, like, or of a story. It's just like marketing. It's all marketing. It's just a trick. I really dislike that. It's way too far.
I think it comes from the same place as every movie franchise existing, just saying, this isn't the 4th movie. Like, Saw is the only one that actually called itself Saw 4. Whereas, like, Final Destination, it's the Final Destination. Like, they always add or subtract the word
or
the.
Or they put a subtitle.
Like, Fast and Furious.
Resurrection, Returns. Yeah.
4 is like a dirty number. Because 3, it's a perfect trilogy.
Then it's like, okay, now it's getting old. Like,
because human beings have this psychological association with like 3. It's like a trilogy. Oh, you have 3 acts in a film. Like Dark Knight trilogy, Lord of the Rings, like trilogy. This psychological association that we built ourselves makes 4 the this is too much number, right? And then 5, you can start using the numbers again, because it's like, 5 is a part of a quintal, that's 2 of 10.
It's hard to make 4 of like a great movie. It's hard to make one great movie. Like, it's just difficult, because by 4 you figure like, okay, it's probably getting really bad.
Yeah. So that's why they don't want to call it Scream 6 or whatever.
Street,
I don't know which one it is.
Right. Yeah, they're already on Scream 4. They're going to call it Scream 5 or whatever.
5 Cream.
Call it
Do that with the title. Turn the S into a 5.
Yeah.
5
That
Cream.
was really dumb, fan stick. Like, it wasn't even the 4th movie or anything. They didn't even need to do that.
Oh, fuck.
That was
they didn't do
sense.
What a wasted opportunity with 5 Cream.
Fantastic 4.
5 Cream.
That would have been terrible.
That would have been the best. What? It's a fucking commentary on horror movies. Do it. Like, it's supposed to be satirical, right? It's not like as crazy as Austin Powers or something. It's not going for that goofy of a tone. But originally, like, what is Scream? It's supposed to be a satire of horror films. Go all in. Make it even sillier. Do 5 Cream. Fuck you guys. You wasted an opportunity. Shit.
Maybe that is
we'll
what
never
it's
get
called.
5
No
Cream.
one's noticed it.
Yeah, the new trailer seems to be taking itself very seriously too.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're hiding the commentary or whatever.
5 Cream is too forehead for them.
They spoil like the whole opening, which is like the point of Scream. Like the opening, which is on the phone, and like it's like the best part. And again, there's like, okay, it's in like the first 2 seconds of the trailer, and then like it spoils like the whole movie, and everyone's back. I just thought it looked really bad. I don't know what you thought of it, if you've seen it. The trailer.
I watched the trailer and I was like, oh, Dylan Minnette, and went on with my day. I'm not gonna watch it.
Yeah, that was my only comment as well. Yeah. It's like a different director now or something. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't think Wes Craven was still doing it.
Yeah, remember the TV series they had?
I didn't watch that either.
Yeah,
I didn't
never
see
saw
it.
that.
Never watched it.
Uh-oh.
That's like the best part. Yeah.
Sorry, I just prevented my phone alarm from going off in like 30 seconds. I forgot about that.
Oh shit.
All right, another question?
Okay, let's do this one from BBD4116. When I think of my favorite movies, usually my favorite act is either the first or third. So my question is, what is a movie you can think of where the best act is the second act?
Oh boy, that's a good question.
That is a good question. I think The Dark Knight is a good one with like a great second act.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah.
That's not a bad
Yeah,
example at
yeah,
all.
that's a really good one, actually. Yeah. I
Just
feel
like
that way
so much going on. Yeah.
about The Matrix. The second act is
Sure.
when stuff gets really interesting to me.
True.
and The true layers are revealed.
Good example.
Yeah.
Not to suggest that either of those films have like particularly weak third or first acts.
No, I just think the second act's particularly good in
Yeah.
The Matrix.
Gonna stare at my Blu-ray shelf for a little bit.
But yeah, I happened to rewatch Raimi's Spider-Man 2 the other day, and I kind of feel that about that movie as well. It's got like an incredible like second act with that. It kind of peaks with that train scene. It's like better than the way it concludes and opens.
Yeah.
like-
Sure. The ending's good though. It's definitely better than the ending of Spider-Man 3.
Every movie I could possibly think of for the answer to this question is like just a movie that has really good first, third, and second acts, you know? I'm trying to think of one where it's like the
Yeah.
second act stands out and the rest isn't like as good.
It is unusual for the second act to pop more than the
Like
first
there's
and
plenty
third.
of
Yeah.
movies that have shit third acts, I guess.
Yeah, some movies have very strong endings. Yeah, very strong how they open. Saving Private Ryan has like a great first act, or like The Social Network. I remember the
Yeah.
first acts. Yeah, like
Damn.
28 Days Later, great first act when he wakes up and everything.
Fucking Gone Girl.
The
Mm.
second act.
Yeah. The midpoint of the movie
Yeah,
is the most exhilarating. But again, it's not
Yeah.
like a particularly weak first or third.
Yeah, right. I love the first act of that movie too. Like, the first act's great, and then the ending is like amazing.
Yeah.
The third act, it's hard. It's hard to find one. Some movies have like an epilogue. The second act is just like you have the most to do. It's usually like the most it was like the most happens. It's the most unpredictable. A lot can happen like a second act. There's no like structure within it, you know. Like a first act's usually the same shit. Like character introduction, 10 minutes in, like there's an incident that starts the story and incites the story, whatever. There's like nothing like that in the second act.
Mm-hmm.
that's what's cool about like a Gone Girl, where you have the whole reveal and that whole speech, and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
it's kind of where the movie shows its true like intent.
Yeah,
Sure.
without
That's like
spoiling
the start of
anything.
the second act. Yeah.
All right, I guess that's the answer to that question.
Okay, so on similar lines, actually, Oddman03 says, "What is the best climax of any film?"
Climax.
Yeah, it could be the movie Climax.
Climax
is in there,
wouldn't
but,
be a bad choice, to be
that's
honest.
funny.
Mentioned Memento earlier. I like the climax of that movie
Yeah,
a lot.
Memento's good.
Whiplash.
Yep. Whiplash,
way
for sure.
up there. Very satisfying.
I'm a big fan of the way the Raid 2 kind of concludes. The way the action and the way it ends is really memorable to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. The end of the raid too. And the raid. It's like great action.
Hot Fuzz as well.
Taxi Driver.
Mm-hmm.
Taxi Driver, yeah, it's a very memorable like scene when he shoots
The whole movie
the
is like
guys, the
build up.
pimps. Yeah, to that,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I can't think of another one.
Kind of just listing movies.
No, I'm trying to think of one, right? Like a great third act, like climax. Like a superhero movie.
I've got a stupid one if you want me to throw out a dumb one.
Sure,
Mhm.
let's do it.
Gordon Morgans has one. What is the worst meme to exist on the internet? What's a meme that just makes you groan every time you see it?
Fucking, I don't know. Like, there's something a bit weird that goes on in my mind when I come to terms with the fact that like we're a quote unquote highly advanced species that is still resorting to essentially just sharing interpretations of just caricatures of each other that were going like, no, you're the soy face. I drew you with this face that is cringe. And literally that's just conversations that people have is like, haha, I drew that this group of person or this individual as having this face. The whole fucking soy Wojak thing, it's just like, my God, this was just Rage Comics. You've just taken Rage Comics and given it a different skin. First of all, and second, it's like embarrassing that we just call ourselves an intelligent species and this is what we do. That's how I feel about it. It's honestly like I have to come to terms with that every single day and be like, oh yeah, this is the planet that I live on. Holy shit.
It's funny you mentioned Rage Comics because that's what pops into my head is the classics, your Magustas, your Why You Know. That shit it needs to stay in the past. Like every now and again, you still see it popping up, and Doge as well. I'm not a fan of Doge. Just give it a rest.
Give it a rest. I don't know anything about it.
Do you have a meme that you don't like?
About Doge?
No.
You love all memes equally.
Dogecoin?
Well, I love all. I don't have any Dogecoin. I don't know enough about memes, so I guess no.
You just love all memes.
Yeah.
There's got to be a meme that pisses you off.
I don't know enough about memes. I don't have enough recent memes.
You're not a memologist?
Like to a relevant meme. I feel like I'm not up to date with.
You like Big Chungus?
Memes. Big Chungus. I mean, I guess I'm laughing, but not really. I guess it made me laugh. Big Chungus. Half-Life memes.
Yeah, I gotta run and do some other stuff. So we're gonna end this podcast. I believe. We have a recommendation from who the fuck? Is it Ralph's turn? Let's see. I'm just gonna Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I guess so. I have a list here, so I'm just pulling it up. Oh, this is a hard one. Alright. I'm gonna go with Godzilla.
The OG?
The original
just
Godzilla.
1954, yeah.
Okay.
Just Godzilla, yeah.
Dang.
Cool. I've seen this one before.
I don't remember if I've seen the 1954 Godzilla. I feel like I might have, but I actually have no idea. I genuinely have no clue if I've seen this. Oh, no, I do have a rating. All right. Okay, yeah, cool. If you don't want to be spoiled for 1954 Godzilla, check it out before the next episode. These episodes get released every 2 weeks, but you can listen to them early by going to sardonicast.com or patreon.com/Sardonicast. Sign up for premium on sardonicast.com. We also got merch and very important news because we are nearing episode 100. We were all thinking, what could we do that's very special for this? We're going to let you decide what movie, maybe more than one movie, maybe two movies. We're going to let you decide what movie in brackets S we watch. And the way that we're doing that is there will be first a Reddit thread on the Sardonicast subreddit posted on November 1st at 12 p.m. Pacific time. And it will be an official pinned posted thread by me. And the films that get the most upvotes in that thread will then be included as poll answers that people can choose from. And these polls will be on the Patreon for Sardonicast, and we will also send out a poll to our premium members on the Sardonicast website. $2 a month. But yeah, our Patreon and our website will be the final vote, but anybody can participate in the first tier. What is it? The first bracket or whatever on the subreddit. So if you want to suggest some movies, they could be masterpieces that we haven't seen. They could be dumb meme films. If you've rigged the poll and it's like a 5-day long movie, we're not going to watch it. Sorry, we'll skip through it. I don't know. Don't waste it like that. Yeah, be reasonable.
Yeah, be reasonable.
Nothing with the N word in the title, probably. I don't know.
I don't think our fans are like that.
Are you sure? I've seen suggestions on the subreddit to watch gay N words from outer space before. But anyway, yeah, not that one. Pick something
I guess
else.
it could be like anything else. Anything else is fine.
Yeah.
It could be Oogie Loves if you want.
Whatever. Yeah, preferably something that we
like
can
that.
still watch within a time frame and wouldn't take like 8 days to finish or something. Anyway, we'll leave it up to you. But members and our patrons and members will be the final vote, and it might be 2 films, but yeah, we'll figure it out. November 1st, 12 p.m. Pacific time is when the thread will go live on our subreddit. So let the games begin.
I'm just glad Venom is in the MCU. That's all I'm happy.
Oh yeah. Well, take $5 from the website money on the next payment.
Yeah. I'll
give me $5 less.
Yeah, no,
USD, man.
$50.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Happy Shrek and hype for episode 100. Thank you for listening to episode 98.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks.